Welcome back to Godless and Grounded. There's something deeply compelling about faith, not just in its ideas or its promises, but in the way it makes people feel, in the way it latches on, in the way it stays. People defend their faith with a kind of passion that often defies reason. They'll fight for it, cry over it, stake their lives on it. Even when it's contradicted by evidence, even when it's been harmful to them personally, even when they no longer fully believe it, they still struggle to let go. It's as if something in the mind refuses to release its grip. That's not a coincidence. Faith for many people operates like an addiction. And like any addiction, it offers comfort. It offers a high. It offers a soothing answer to life's most frightening questions. It becomes a part of the emotional wiring of a person's identity, making it incredibly difficult to walk away from, even when it stops making sense. To really understand why faith is addictive, we need to start with the human brain. The brain isn't just a rational engine, it's an emotional one. It seeks patterns, it rewards habits, and above all, it craves certainty. Faith gives people the illusion of certainty, the idea that there's a plan, that someone is watching, that life has purpose, that everything, even pain, is part of a divine design. When someone believes they're being guided by a higher power, when they feel they're part of something bigger than themselves, the brain lights up. Dopamine is released. Serotonin floods the system. It's the same chemical response triggered by falling in love, achieving a goal, or getting a warm hug. In short, belief feels good. But here's what's important. It's not necessarily the truth of the belief that matters. It's the experience of believing it. The mind doesn't need proof to feel peace. It just needs a convincing story, repeated often enough. That's why religious rituals are so effective. Whether it's bowing 5 times a day, lighting candles, repeating verses, or singing hymns, the repetition itself creates a kind of emotional rhythm. It calms the nervous system. It provides a predictable structure in a chaotic world. And that structure, like a well-worn path, becomes addictive, not just psychologically, but physiologically. And then there's the social element. Humans are tribal creatures. We long to belong. And religion offers one of the oldest and most powerful forms of tribal belonging there is. From birth, many people are immersed in a specific faith. Their holidays, family traditions, friendships, even marriages are shaped by it. In such a context, faith isn't just belief, it's identity, it's community, it's safety. Imagine for a moment growing up in a town where everyone believes the same thing. Every neighbor, every teacher, every friend, every elder reinforces the same worldview. Now imagine being the one person who starts to question it. The loneliness, the anxiety, the fear of losing everyone and everything you know. For many, the thought of leaving religion is not just about disagreeing with theology. It's about the potential collapse of their entire social world. That fear is very real, and it's one of the strongest hooks of faith. You're not just afraid of being wrong. You're afraid of being alone. And faith doesn't just offer belonging. It offers safety from a certain kind of fear that most people carry quietly, the fear of uncertainty. There's something incredibly unnerving about not knowing what happens after we die, about not knowing why bad things happen to good people, about living in a universe that doesn't seem to care about us personally. Faith smooths those rough edges. It gives people a story. Heaven, hell, karma, divine justice. These ideas fill the terrifying gaps that reality leaves blank. Even if those ideas don't stand up to scrutiny, they soothe the emotional chaos that uncertainty brings. But that comfort comes at a cost, because faith, in its addictive form, often discourages doubt. It punishes questioning, and it replaces intellectual curiosity with emotional loyalty. For many people, faith is introduced in childhood, before critical thinking has developed. It's often framed not as a theory to explore, but as a truth to accept. And when that happens, belief gets anchored not in the head, but in the heart. Even if someone begins to question the ideas intellectually, the emotional foundation remains. Doubt becomes scary, not because it's wrong, but because it feels like betrayal. Not just of God, but of family, culture, heritage. This is why leaving religion is often described as painful, even traumatic. It's not just walking away from an idea. It's untangling yourself from years of emotional conditioning. The process can feel like grief, because in many ways it is. Another reason faith is so addictive is its promise of significance. Religion tells people they matter in a cosmic way, that they are known, seen, loved by a higher power, that their life has a purpose designed by something greater than themselves. This kind of narrative can be profoundly validating. Contrast that with a secular worldview, where meaning is self-created and life may have no cosmic plan. That idea can feel daunting, empty even. It takes emotional maturity to accept that the universe doesn't revolve around us, and that our meaning is something we must make, not something we inherit. Religion also feeds the ego in subtle but powerful ways. Being told you are chosen, saved, part of the true faith, gives people a sense of superiority. Even if it's unspoken, it's there. The idea that others are lost and you are not. That your path is righteous and theirs is not. That God favors you, listens to you, protects you. These beliefs feel empowering, but they're often rooted in arrogance masked as humility. And once someone is emotionally invested in this worldview, they build their lives around it. Their decisions, relationships, moral compass, all filtered through the lens of faith. So, if that faith is challenged, it's not just a belief that's under threat, it's an entire way of being. Think about what addiction really is. It's not just craving something, it's depending on it. Needing it to feel normal. And faith often functions exactly like that. It provides emotional highs, a sense of belonging, a buffer against fear, a feeling of importance, and protection from existential anxiety. Remove it, and many people feel like they're falling. And yet, for all its emotional power, faith remains a belief system, one built not on evidence, but on tradition, repetition, authority, and emotion. The danger of faith as addiction is that it becomes immune to challenge. You can present facts, arguments, contradictions, but if someone's belief is wired into their emotions, they won't engage logically. They'll protect their belief the way an addict protects a drug, with denial, with anger, with retreat. Not because they're unintelligent, but because they're afraid. Faith teaches many people that doubt is sin, that questioning is rebellion, that curiosity is dangerous. And so people build mental walls. They avoid books, people, conversations that might shake their foundation. They retreat into certainty because it feels safer than truth. But here's the truth. Certainty is often an illusion, and clinging to it at all costs does more harm than good. The world is complex, messy, uncertain, and yes, terrifying at times. But it's also beautiful, and understanding it for what it is without magical thinking or invisible forces is part of growing up, part of becoming intellectually and emotionally honest. That's not always easy. In fact, it's incredibly hard. But it's also liberating. Because when you finally let go of comforting illusions, when you stop needing the universe to care about you personally, something remarkable happens. You start to care more about it, about people, about choices, about the present moment. You stop waiting for divine plans and start making your own. You stop fearing hell and start fearing harm. You stop looking for cosmic judgment and start seeking human justice. In short, you grow, not away from meaning, but toward a deeper, more honest kind of meaning. One that doesn't depend on dogma or doctrine or invisible overseers. One that lives in empathy, truth, and reason. So yes, faith can be addictive, but like any addiction, it can be overcome. Not by force, not by ridicule, but by clarity, by compassion, by courage. Because truth doesn't need to be comforting to be valuable. It just needs to be real.